Oh, wait till you hear about the outrage of the day. I'm James Parker. Happy Friday. It's the James Show. News Talk 820 93.3 FM WBAP. I am your host, James Parker. I know, good to see you too. We just need to get started here. All right, so I saw this morning, and I didn't want to talk about it in the morning shift I've been doing lately because I wanted to dig into it, and I'm really glad I waited. Last night, Donald Trump posted a video that was about a minute long, and in the last 1 second of the video, there is the beginning of another video, and it depicts Barack Obama and Michelle Obama. Their heads are on the bodies of apes. Now, if you just take the screenshot of that and pass it around and you say Trump posted this last night, that looks terrible. And if that is the case, that would be terrible. And I would totally condemn him. I wouldn't say he's a racist. I would say that was very insensitive. He's probably just doing that to troll people. But it turns out it's not nearly as bad as it sounds. Now, before I give you the explanation, let me show you how it's being reported so you can get the sort of aha moments as I unfurl the truth. ABC News reported on it this morning.
And the White House is responding to criticism after President Trump posted a video that includes a racist meme depicting former President Obama and his wife Michelle as apes. Now the Senate's only black Republican senator is responding and calling out the White House. ABC's Jay O'Brien's here with more on that. Hi, Jay. What's the latest?
Yeah, Diane, just moments ago, the video was deleted from President Trump's account, and it comes after a growing chorus of Republican lawmakers called on the White House to take the racist image down, including, as you say, Senator Tim Scott, who posted the image in addition to his post. ABC is not showing the image, but we are showing you the post, and it says, quote, praying it was fake because it's the most racist thing I've seen out of this White House. The president should remove it. The racist image comes at the end of a minute-long video the president posted on his social media platform. The first 59 seconds describe debunk election conspiracy theories from 2020, and at the end, the video suddenly cuts to an animated meme showing the Obamas' faces on the bodies of apes. The NAACP, quote, Donald Trump's video is blatantly racist, disgusting, and utterly despicable, end quote. That again from the NAACP. Images of black people as apes have been used throughout American history to dehumanize them. Slave traders and segregationists use these types of images to depict black people as inferior, and at times it's led to violence. Initially, White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt said in a statement, quote, this is from an internet meme depicting President Trump as the king of the jungle and Democrats as characters from The Lion King. Please stop the fake outrage and report on something today that actually matters to the American public, end quote. But again, since that statement, the video now appears to have been deleted, and the White House is now saying from an anonymous staffer, quote, that they erroneously made the post. The video that Leavitt described in that initial statement I just played for you was originally shared on Facebook last October by the Hardin County Republican Party of Kentucky. The chairman of that group issued an apology at the time and deleted the original post after backlash. And again, a number of Republican lawmakers are reacting to this. Another is Republican Congressman Mike Lawler. He's posting, quote, the president's post is wrong and incredibly offensive, whether intentional or a mistake, and it should be deleted immediately with an apology offered. The Obamas have not commented on the video at this point, Diane.
All right, Jay O'Brien, thank you.
All right, so that was okay. That was for ABC. You could expect a lot worse on this situation. But the most interesting part is always what they're not telling you. At any point in that report, did they tell you the contents of the rest of the video? Because that's important. If the rest of the video was talking about some racial angle and saying racial things, and at the end they had the meme with the Obamas on monkey bodies, you'd say, "Oh, okay, clearly this was a racist video sent with racist intent." But the entirety of the video, up until the last second, is talking about voter fraud. They don't want to tell you that. They want to tell you this was a racist meme. Because if they tell you the truth, that the first 55 seconds were talking about voter fraud, and the last 1 second had what could be interpreted as a racist meme, it's not necessarily a racist meme. You got to have full context. If you look at the full context, it's not that bad either. Carolyn Leavitt said it's from The Lion King. It's not from The Lion King, but it looks like the animation when they sort of redid The Lion King, where they tried to not make it as cartoony. Did you see that one? I just watched that, I think over the Christmas break with the kiddos. Well, in the rest of the video, the part that the little 1 second comes from, there's just a cascade of liberals, and they're depicted on different animal bodies. And Donald Trump is like strolling through on the body of a lion, like he's king of the jungle. And then he kind of lays down, and then there's this flamingo with Harry Sisson's body that's like fanning him off. And Zoran Mamdani is a hyena. Chuck Schumer, what was he? Oh, a zebra. Whoopi Goldberg was a hippo, and I'm not making that up to be funny. That's just what was in the video. So the big one though is Joe Biden was in the video. He was a baboon. So this wasn't a video that was depicting the Obamas as monkeys. This was a video depicting the general Democrat all-stars as different animals in what looked like sort of the Lion Kingdom setup, but the King of the Jungle setup. And so it doesn't sound nearly as racist when you put it in that context, but also when you look at the actual video itself, it looks like someone is, instead of downloading the video about the voter fraud that happened, it looked like someone took a screenshot of it and was just doing a screen capture. And in the autoplay, that next video was coming up and you just caught a minute of that. So it's not even part of the video that was intended to be posted. That part was an accident. And so what, was that Trump being sloppy? Was that a staffer being sloppy? Was it sabotage? We don't know yet. But this is going to be the outrage of the day. And it means nothing for the people who say that he was already a racist, pedophile, evil, rapist on top of that, literal Nazi, literal Hitler. Your opinion means nothing. If you thought he was Hitler yesterday, of course, you're going to be hyperbolic about it. But for a lot of people that saw it, man, that's not a good look. And I'll tell you, that's not a good look. That's the PR nightmare. I'm sure that wasn't his intent. I'm sure it was an accident. But coming up next, you're going to hear the most important part of the video. Everything but the last second. Because the message in there, if that got out, then we had a conversation about that and not the insignificant, racially insensitive last 1 second of the video. That's a conversation they don't want to have. You'll hear it next on The James Show. News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. Well, hey there. Happy Friday. Welcome back to the James Show. News Talk 820 93.3 FM WBAP. I am your host, James Parker. So you're going to see, if you haven't seen already, a big hissy fit. The hissy fit of the day is over a video that Donald Trump had posted on Truth Social. And in the first 55 seconds of it, it's talking about suspicions of voter fraud in Michigan. And in the last 1 second, someone caught it on a screen capture where it was auto rolling to another video, and it has the Obama's head, Barack and Michelle, on the bodies of apes. It's a terrible look. And for those of you who seem to be concerned about this, it is true. We do have a terrible history in America of people treating blacks as subhumans and frequently using the monkey as a kind of hurtful pejorative, just to make them submit. Of course, that's not all Americans. We call them Democrats, if you want to be more specific. So yeah, because Democrats have such a terrible history of dehumanizing people based on the color of their skin, we're a little sensitive about that in 2026. I bet you if he could go back and do it again, he would paste that video without the apes at the end. But then again, if he pastes the video without the apes at the end, does anyone pay attention? Do we even know about it? So it might be interesting to go back and say, well, what was all the fuss about? What was the original video for? What did he want us to see? And why aren't they telling us the rest of the content of the video? If this is obviously a racist thing and he's literally Hitler, and was this a racist video? No, here's what it was about.
Initiated by a court order, the Michigan investigation team obtained forensic access to a DS200 tabulator, the machine that counts the votes. A Telit 4G wireless chip manufactured in Taiwan was discovered embedded into the motherboard. The voting machine tapes clearly indicate modem engagement and transmission of election data. Some of the anomalies that we noticed in the 2020 general elections, that 5 key states all stopped counting at a certain time in these key battleground states. These were all where the software, Dominion machines, ES&S machines were used, the Smartmatic, the GEMS software. So when the vote stopped counting, and this has been noted in other countries as well, President Trump was significantly ahead. When reporting and counting resumed, there was a massive spike occurred that favored Joe Biden.
And then that was it. Did you hear the beginning of the line, sleeps tonight? That 1 second, something that was probably not a part of the original video. It has nothing to do with it. There's a little watermark on the original video that was coming from one group, and then there was another watermark on the video with the apes on it. So it looks like either they spliced this video together on purpose, or this was the auto roll just going to the next one, and the guy doing the screenshot didn't stop it in time. But that's what everyone's going to focus on, is that last second. And if anyone focuses only on that last second, and that deserves a discussion. You know, if he is that politically insensitive, if he's that inept, that doesn't make sense. This is a guy who's been playing the media like a fiddle for a decade. Looks like it was just a big oops. And there's a lot of people who are just jumping all over this, salivating, because it fits the narrow, small supply of racism for the giant, voracious demand. But yeah, let's talk about that. Don't we deserve to have a discussion into the 2020 voting? No, a lot of people don't seem to think so. Jake Tapper doesn't seem to think so. Jake Tapper, this was his response to the ape meme. And really, remember, the whole video is about voter fraud and about some chicanery in the voting machines, and just maybe sparking a little intellectual curiosity. But they're going to skip all over that because they have 1 second of precious video that makes Trump look bad.
President Trump just posted on social media a hideously racist image of President and First Lady Obama. It came in the midst of a wild social media jag where the president was retruthing or truthing all sorts of stuff. It started last night at 10:26 p.m. and continued until midnight. There was a video of some deranged person confronting me at the Republican National Convention. I had my earbuds in, didn't hear what she had to say, but I guess President Trump thought that was newsworthy. There were some clips from CNN, ones that I guess he thinks are real and not fake because they suggest support for voter ID, a position he supports. But what was most disturbing, of course, was in the midst of one of the several fake, wrong, inaccurate, debunked videos he put out there about the 2020 election being stolen from him, which it was not, was this video of Michelle Obama and Barack Obama, the president and first lady, as apes with the Lion Sleeps Tonight music playing behind him. I can't get into his heart. I don't know if that was an accident or malicious or cruel or reckless or careless. All I know is putting out a picture like that, video like that of the president and first lady Obama, depicting them as apes is disgusting and racist and definitely unpresidential.
All right, we got it. Jake Tapper, not a fan. We knew he wasn't going to be a fan anyway, but that's the way some people are looking at it. And look, we can have the conversation about the last second of the video. Can we have a conversation about the first 55 seconds too? Can we do both of that? Because when he said this is all about the myth debunked, he put like 28 different adjectives on the front of it. The factually inaccurate, whatever that part was. Should I do that again? Because that's where you get suspicious. You know, if you're supposedly a journalist or whatever, you wouldn't repeat yourself 12 times and break out the thesaurus on something that's true. It's something that you're sensitive about.
But what was most disturbing, of course, was in the midst of stuff. It started last night at 10:26 p.m. and continued until midnight. In the midst of one of the several fake, wrong, inaccurate, debunked videos he put out there about the 2020 election.
Yeah, that part, which it was not. We need to have this conversation because there were 5 states that didn't give you an answer on election night. 5 states where they stopped voting or paused voting or, oh, we had a water pipe break. And so for the first time in U.S. presidential election history, they stopped counting and didn't give you an answer. And they said, no, we'll take a few days or we'll restart in the morning. Boy, we sure are tired. We'll go get some shut-eye. We'll hit the ground running at 8 in the morning. Never happened before. Hadn't happened since. And 5 of the 6 states that flipped in 2020, causing President Biden to win over Donald Trump, just happened to be the 5 states for the first time and only time in presidential history couldn't give you an answer on election night. The odds of that just being a coin flip, not being acted upon by an outside force, of it just being a coincidence, are smaller than 1 in 2 million. Do you understand that? I don't have to be able to explain how you cheated at roulette, but if it lands on the same number 5 times in a row, you have all the evidence that somebody cheated. You don't have to be able to explain, oh, it's been debunked. You can't prove it. No, I can't prove how you cheated at roulette, but the math is not realistic. You understand? You would have to have over 110,000 elections. No, wait. 1.1 million elections. And since we only have an election every 4 years, you should be able to run presidential elections for 4.4 million years of American history before you have a 50-50 chance of the 5 swing states just coin flip. Oh, we all had a random issue at the same time on the same night in the same election, and we all flipped from red to blue. It's not a believable coincidence. So, yeah, I don't like the part about the apes. That's really ugly. I would leave that out of any future posts or any memes. Just don't give these people a reason to seize on it. Because I don't even think the guy who made the original meme had that sort of, terrible, ugly stereotype where you connect apes with Black Americans. I think he was making part of a larger sort of Lion Sleeps Tonight themed video. Joe Biden's head was on a baboon. Is that historically racist? What was the connection between Chuck Schumer and zebras? Are zebras some sort of unknown anti-Jewish trope? 800-288-9227. 800-288-9227. If you have a reaction to it, I'd love to hear it. If not, I'd like to move on to DART being very nervous about its future in 2026. I'm James Parker. It's The James Show, News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. Hey there, welcome back to the James Show, News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. I'm your host, James Parker. Well, if you were judging by social media outrage, top story of the day, the one that affects you absolutely none the least, will be forgotten in like a month, is the fact that a bleed over from a video that could be considered racist was in a video that Trump posted last night on Truth Social, and cue the outrage machine, and everyone's like, oh, this is so unpresidential. I told you he's a racist. He's evil, yada, yada, yada. And really, even in the worst case scenario, even if Trump is a terrible person and he is a racist and he thinks blacks are inferior, that's bad. Oh, certainly. I condemn that. Absolutely. But capitalism's still better than socialism. So overall, does that change the direction we need to go in the country, or is this just the latest attempt at trying to make everyone in America hate him? Orange man bad. I got it. Steve and Justin, you're on WBAP. Hey, Steve.
Hey, James. How you doing? Listen, my take on this is it's a 100% troll. It's to prove that the media and the Democrats don't want to talk about the real issue. That's why you only see 1 second of the video. Shows, right? So the first 59 seconds is everything about what took place in the rigged election. And it's just to show everybody, hey, we don't really want to talk about that because we'd rather talk about the Obamas being made fun of. And secondly, I'm not sure that this affects the people of color, people who voted for Trump. I think this is a 100% troll.
As in he did it on purpose?
As in, yes, because the show, hey, the first 59 seconds of the video shows the illegalities of the election in, what was it, Michigan?
Yeah.
Okay. And to say, hey, we're going to pay attention to the last 1 second, forget what the first 59 seconds. It doesn't matter. We want to show you how bad Trump is because he made fun of the Obamas and putting them on the 8 bodies from the Tarzan movie.
Well, Steve, I like to run bits so much. Like even before I was a talk radio host, I used to do bits on my friends and whatnot. And since I've been a talk radio host, one of the frustrating things is I've been on the biggest stations. I was on satellite radio. I was on the big talk station, like the WBAP equivalent in New Orleans for a long time. I've been on this station for over a couple years now. And I never get any media attention. But I know I would get media attention if I was caught on tape saying the N-word, or if there was the rumor that I was caught on tape saying the N-word. So I always thought it'd be a fun publicity stunt. My former producer for the James Show happens to be black. So I used to think, Chris, what if you just went to a local TV station and you're like, hey, I'd like to have a press conference. My former employer, James, turns out he's actually a really evil, racist person, and I have some evidence that he said the N-word. And then when everyone gathers for the press conference, he just says, gotcha. And then I walk out and I make the point that none of you people have ever paid any attention to me, but you all showed up with for the chance to take me down. That shows what pieces of garbage you people are. If I'm important enough to report on, if I say something bad, I haven't been important enough to report on anything else. I'm only newsworthy if I'm saying a racial slur. Get out of here.
I agree with that, and I'm not disputing that. But this is right. Is it apples to apples? The N-word versus 8 bodies? I'm not sure about that, but I guess I can't answer that because I'm not a black guy. But I don't know, James. I think more people voted for Trump. More black people voted for Trump in the last election than voted for Republicans nearly ever.
Well, it's been a while. It didn't used to be that way, during Reconstruction era and segregation. And for most of Jim Crow, they were the reliable Republican voting group. It was really until like the 30s, until the Great Depression, and FDR started handing out goodies. I guess that, I don't know if that is why, but that sort of coincides on the timeline on when their vote flipped. But look, for all the people that are so hypersensitive about racism, were they hypersensitive about Michelle Obama saying, I avoid white businesses like 2 weeks ago?
If I hear of someone whose fashion that I like, and I know that they're a person of color, I try to make it a point. But the clothes have to be available. Right. I think we can all do some work to think about that balance in our wardrobes, what does our closet look like and who's in it? Who are we supporting in it?
Right.
You know, and I think if you have the money to buy Chanel, then you have the money to buy everybody.
Right.
And so let us be mindful, I think would be my advice.
Yeah, so I do everything I can to avoid white businesses. When she says to give patronage to businesses from people of color, that's everybody but white people. That means she's trying to avoid white businesses. And if you didn't get your racial antenna buzzing when she said that, your opinion means nothing to me when you complain about the Donald Trump video. Little consistency would be nice. Coming up next, here's an interesting story. SpaceX is about to merge with XAI. Why? And also, a $58 billion merger is about to happen between in a Texas energy company that would make maybe the largest independent shale producer in the world. Well, all right, we'll talk about it with the guy who does this for a living, Michael D. Rubin. I'm James Parker. It's News Talk 820, 93.3 FM WBAP. All right, we have two huge mergers that are happening in Texas. We are the forefront of the business world these days, and here to make some sense of it, Michael D. Rubin. You hear him on the weekends here. On Sunday, he has a show, Sell Your Company for Maximum Value. During the week, he runs Michael D. Rubin and Associates, and you're the perfect guy to talk to because this is what you do, mergers and acquisitions and selling your company and whatnot. So, Michael, welcome to the show. And first off, let's talk about the bigger one. SpaceX is merging with xAI. So Elon's rocket company is merging with Elon's artificial intelligence company. First, why would he want to do that, Michael?
That's right, James. Thanks for having me on the show. I was reading an article the other day, James, and I was stunned. You know, Elon Musk seems to want to, as we all know, take over the world. And so with SpaceX, the AI race that we're all involved in, and it's a race. Google's racing, Microsoft is racing, Elon is racing, and basically he's wanting to buy xAI to embed that company into his satellites. That would be almost like that would be a monopoly on AI, because those satellites could then give real-time information, and AI could position the satellites, et cetera, et cetera. So the AI race is on. I think the combined company would be worth $2 or $3 trillion. So Elon is trying to take over the world with AI, just about like everybody else.
All right, I know this is probably going to sound really novice to you, but I think a lot of people, including myself, are saying, why doesn't he leave them as separate companies and just license the technology, horizontally across his two entities?
No idea. You know, he's
Okay.
a lot smarter than guys like you and me. I barely graduated Texas Tech University, so if there's any Red Raiders out there, I'm just a Red Raider, common sense Red Raider. I have no idea. That guy's super smart.
Well,
But,
we've also seen the evolution of SpaceX. Well, he's wanting to send rockets into space. He says he wants to go to the Mars. He wants to colonize Mars. It sounds like he really just wanted to set up Starlink, and he needed the rockets to get all his little breadbasket satellites in space.
That's right. That's right. And so, I mean, I think everybody's chasing. I just got back from Austin, and my brother showed me, Google's latest AI. It's still in beta test. James, I was freaked out. I could not believe the things that AI can do right now. I wrote a book called Sell Your Company for Maximum Value that led me to the radio show every Sunday on WBAP. It's 12 to 1. If you're getting your nachos and your pizzas ordered before the Super Bowl, join us this Sunday. We're going to talk about the 15 ways to increase value of your small business. At MDR and Associates, where I'm at, I deal with the $1 to $50 million sales. So we're talking in the trillions with Elon. We retire Texas business owners, James, since 2008. And so, but I'll tell you this, every business owner listening needs to worry about AI from what I saw this weekend, and not worry. You're either going to be fearful of it or you're going to embrace it.
Yeah. Hey, if we're going to be replaced by AI talk show hosts, I would like to be the guy that runs the AI behind the scenes. I would like to be the guy behind the curtain pushing buttons still.
I think I speak for all the listeners out there, James. You are a little bit AI. That's how witty you are.
I'll take it.
AI can instantly take a right turn and then instantly take a left turn. That's you, buddy.
All right.
That
Well,
is you.
can I talk about the other deal real quick? We only have like 2 minutes here.
Sure.
But Devon Energy announced that it's going to merge with a Houston-based company, Coterra Energy. Now, you talk about how you deal with businesses that are up to about $50 million or so in value.
Correct.
This would make make a company worth $58 billion. It would be probably the nation's largest independent shale producer. And why would they want to do that? It sounds like both of them are doing pretty good on their own. What's the advantage of merging with another one? Or is that like an exit strategy?
The number one niche we serve is home services, HVAC, plumbing, electrical. All these guys right now are being bought. It's called consolidation. So if you own a company, HVAC, plumbing, electrical, landscaping, alarm services, pest control, you own something like that, right? You need to consider selling if you're getting the retirement age, because they're all consolidating. So you're either going to consolidate like that energy company did, or you're going to hear that your neighbor sold and your top two competitors sold for top value, by the way. This is the best year I've seen in 18 years of me doing this, representing sellers of small businesses, that I've ever seen to get top value, like ridiculous values. And so the answer to your question is, whether it's in the billions or it's a $100 million investment bank deal, which we don't do, or it's the M&A advisory, the above the business brokers, the $1 to $50 million, but below the investment bankers, every company, I'll give you for instance, Blackstone just bought Jersey Mike's for $8 billion. Blackstone's the largest private equity in the world.
Right.
So everything's being bought by private equity. All the big companies in your space are eating the smaller ones. All I'm saying to small business owners are, let's get some of that.
Right. All right. Michael D. Rubin.
Get out before it's too late.
We're out of time here. Your company's website, mdrubin.com, but don't you have like a fancy vanity one, like Sell My Company or something like that?
Yeah. If you go to the address bar, it's sellmycompanynow.com. That's sellmycompanynow.com.
Sellmycompanynow.com. Hey, thanks for the assist on the mergers and acquisitions front. It doesn't come up much on the James Show, but it's nice to have you here. We'll be listening on Sundays. Coming up next, Dart is afraid. And it should be. I'm James Parker on News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. Well, happy Friday, fellow Texans. Welcome back to the James Show. News Talk 820 93.3 FM WBAP. I am your host, James Parker. One of the things I'm most excited about for 2026 is the specter that maybe Dart can be taken down a peg. I would like for it to ultimately go away, but 2026 is the first time in my life that I remember people saying, we're out. Now, look, I know it happened in the 80s right after it got started. There were a couple of municipalities that pulled out, and boy, don't they look like geniuses now. But that I remember. This is the first real movement we've had, and I think in a positive direction. I mean, it's a negative direction for Dart, but a positive direction for the poor sucker taxpayers and people who have to wait in traffic behind buses and trains and just have your money flushed down the toilet on all this stuff Dart doesn't use, that nobody uses. 0.6% of commuters in North Texas use Dart. So do we really need it? Absolutely not. It's a complete waste of money. I don't think we've wasted money on anything else more than Dart in North Texas history, maybe in all of Texas history. So there's going to be 5 municipalities: Farmers Branch, Irving, who are the other ones? Richardson, Highland Park, something like that. Oh, Addison was the other one. They're going to vote this year to pull out a Dart. Well, Dart is now responding to some of the complaints that they've been having for years. All these little places have been saying we spend too much money in Dallas versus what you take away from us. We're not getting the service for the money. Also, we don't have any control over the board. Dallas runs it because they have a majority on the board. So we really have no say-so. So we're just getting siphoned over here. And so there was a meeting by the Dart people in Dallas yesterday, and they decided, right before you have these votes, that they were going to make some concessions. WFAA had the great report this morning.
Good morning, Erica. Well, as you can see, we are on the Green Line Dart train right now, started at Farmers Branch, which is one of the cities that is considering leaving the agency. And one of the reasons why next Wednesday, the Dallas City Council could vote on whether or not to give up its majority on the Darts board, all in an effort to keep some suburbs from leaving the agency altogether. So the February 23rd deadline is quickly approaching for when cities have to finalize ballot language if they want voters this May to decide whether to leave Dart. Cities like Plano, Irving, and Farmers Branch are already lining up those votes, and that's why Dallas is making this move now. Currently, Dallas holds 7.5 seats on Dart's 15-member board. Under this proposal, the board would expand, making it so every member city gets a full seat. It would also drop Dallas's share down to about 45%. Supporters say that's a meaningful concession and could be enough to keep suburban cities at the table, at least for now. But there's still debate at City Hall over whether Dallas should give up control when it pays the most into the system and has the largest ridership. And then there's the biggest unresolved issue, the 1% sales tax. That's the core complaint from the suburbs, and this proposal doesn't touch that at all. So the question now isn't just whether Dallas gives up power, it's whether or not they're making this move soon enough and whether this move goes far enough to keep those votes off the May ballot.
Look at that. Who's trying to woo the little suburbs back? You were bullying them for all these years, but now that they're threatening to leave, no, we'll share power. No, we'll give you some of this money back. No, we won't take as much money from you. No. Please don't leave. Please don't leave. It's almost like I remember a long time ago, I had this job at another radio company that I'm not going to name, just being polite. But my first contract was a 2-year contract, and after that, I asked for a raise, and they didn't give me a raise. Times are tight. We've got this merger coming up. And so I started looking for another job while I was still working for them. A few months later, I found another job, and I put in my notice, and they're like, "Why are you leaving?" I'm like, "Well, they're giving me $10,000 a year more than you're giving me." And they're like, "Fine, we'll give you a raise." No, it's too late now. You had a chance to give me a raise back in May, but now I'm sorry. I can't work like that. Oh, I'm not worth it until I'm going to leave and then I'm worth it. No, that's not how we work around here. You should have paid me when you had the chance. And I hope that's what Addison says. No. You're going to share the board seats with the little guys now. You're not going to take as much money from us. You're going to provide us better service now that we're walking out the door. No. It's like when the girlfriend leaves and the boyfriend's like, "Oh, I'm sorry. I'll start doing more housework, or I'll be nicer to you, or I don't know, stop hitting you." I don't know what people who break up do. But what I like about this is just like in Starship Troopers, when Doogie Howser goes out there and they pull that big bug out of the cave and he puts his hand on there and he's a mind reader and he tells the world that he's afraid.
It's afraid. It's afraid!
Woohoo! Love celebratory gunfire is the best. Mark in Dallas, you're next up on WBAP. Hey, Mark.
Hey, brother. I was just curious. Like, I hate Dart too with a passion.
Oh,
Fiery
so good to
heart.
hear. We should be best friends, Mark.
Dude, it sucks. But when they go away, do we expect to get any money back or any leniency on the tax we pay for real? Because it's not ever coming back to us.
Well, here's the good news. Even if you don't, what Plano pays to DART right now every year is more than the entirety of what they collect in residential property taxes. So you have a good argument for tax relief. You can say, can you just give half of that money back to us? Or your streets could be lined in gold, and these are your two options here. Now you're right to turn around and say
that they'll line the streets in gold and then never provide the gold, just the streets messed up to provide to supply the gold.
Well, that's kind of true in a lot of situations, but you have more say so the more local the decision is made. You have a better chance at affecting some kind of good outcomes. Because look, when you get in really small towns, it is hilarious how tight the purse strings are and how everyone calls everything out. It's like, who says we need a four-way stop? Or who says we need to redo the curb on this road? Or who says we need a new city hall? They shoot down everything. And I love living out in the middle of nowhere because everyone's hyper skeptical about everything. And we love the fact that we pay like $300 a year in property taxes. I mean,
I grew up in Rice, Texas. It was small before, but now it's getting closer and closer to Dallas.
Well, it's just so cheap out there. I almost don't want to tell y'all so you don't move out there. Like 5-bedroom house, $300,000, and it's not like made of sticks. It's a decent house that was made in the year 2000. All right, coming up next, Donovan Lewis from The Ticket's going to join us to give you a Super Bowl preview. Not now. Coming up in about 4 minutes. I'm James Parker. It's News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. All right, let's talk about this Super Bowl coming up this weekend. I'm James Parker, News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. WFAA did the thing that I love it. I love it every Super Bowl when you have stories like this. The guy that grew up just down the street from you is now playing in the biggest game football has to offer. So here's a couple of the players in the Super Bowl from North Texas.
It's a dream every high school football player grows up chasing. The biggest game, under the brightest lights. And in just a few days, this dream, it'll become a reality for 9 North Texans.
Everybody in this town is rooting for him.
I think more proud than anything else.
One of the most anticipated matchups could feature 2 DFW standouts. Seattle Seahawks wide receiver Jackson Smith-Njigba and New England Patriots cornerback Christian Gonzalez.
2 receiver set play.
Before the NFL or college spotlight.
One-handed catch, corner of the end zone, touchdown Rockwall.
Njigba was lighting up Friday nights at Rockwall High School, snagging more than 5,300 receiving yards and 82 touchdowns.
He never had to coach effort, never had to coach attitude with him. He showed up and brought his best every single day.
But his coaches say what stands out most, even now, is the man off the field.
He is a superstar, but he's still the same Jackson to all of us. He still takes pride in being a Rockwall Yellow Jacket.
The other DFW native that could be lined up across from him on Sunday went to high school just 45 minutes away.
He's quiet, but he doesn't play like that.
Christian Gonzalez is now one of the league's top defenders, but his former coach Rudy remembers the first time he saw him in the Colony jersey.
Sure enough, that first game, he goes off from the start. He returned punts, kicks, he did everything.
And it's that impact that still echoes back home.
It helps a ton that he constantly comes and visits. He's always up here.
So while it's no secret who each coach is rooting for this Sunday, they can all agree on one thing. No matter the outcome, these 2 players and every other North Texan taking the field are already making this region proud.
Man, that's so cool. Can you just imagine if you grew up playing football and watching football, just the idea of the Super Bowl doesn't even seem like it's something that's real. It's like, yeah, I want to go on Super Mario Brothers, or I want to go to Mars and Total Recall or whatever. It just doesn't seem real. So for these guys, can you imagine how amazing that must be to have the biggest dream in the world and to actually fulfill it? I mean, I'm almost concerned, like, if you do this and you're, because what's Njigba? He's like 25. What do you do the rest of your life? It's just all downhill. You'll never match that again. Am I allowed to say that? Am I going to get like an HR complaint? I didn't come up with his name. I promise y'all it's his name. I'm not saying a slur. His name's Njigba. Leave me alone. It's a tough day. CNN's having a hissy fit over here about the Trump video. But first, the Super Bowl. What are you doing for the Super Bowl? You got any cool plans? 800-288-9227, 800-288-9227. I had mentioned that this morning when I was doing the 9 to 11 shift, and one guy sent in a really cool response. He's going to be watching it in Vegas on a big screen in some auditorium or whatever. And I thought that was cool. Like, if you're already out there, that's one thing. But did you make the trip just for the Super Bowl? Because that kind of gets really fun. Someone's a really fun guy who likes to have a fun time, if that's what you do with your time. But you can share with me. You can call in if you want, but I imagine most people send in a Facebook message, or you can email me, james@wbap.com. Yeah, but Larry Newberry, I'm watching the Super Bowl at Circa downtown Vegas. Check out how big their screen is. Watching from a heated waiting pool. That's the kind of experience I'm talking about. Yeah. Also, North Texas showing out at the awards for the NFL. They named the MVP for the season, Matthew Stafford, Highland Park. Defensive Player of the Year, Myles Garrett, Arlington Martin. Offensive Player of the Year, Jackson Smith-Njigba, Rockwall. And yes, I am allowed to say that. But that's amazing. That's like the top 3 awards that the NFL hands out. And they didn't just go to Texas players. They went to North Texas players. These are people within like an hour drive of where I'm at right now, depending on traffic for Rockwall. But they didn't come from Houston. They didn't come from San Antonio. Didn't come from the Valley. Didn't come from Austin. It didn't even come from Bug Tussle. They're all from like here. So that's cool. It's the first time Matthew Stafford got an MVP award, but he led the league in passing and passing yards. So it's really hard to not give it to him after that. 46 touchdowns and 4,707 passing yards. Now, that's not close to a record. You know, Drew Brees had like 5 seasons where he passed for more than 5,000 yards. But this is the first time Highland Park has an NFL MVP, but they do have an MVP in another sport. Clayton Kershaw, National League MVP in 2014. So that one little school, 2 MVPs in 2 different sports. That's pretty cool. Now, Stafford's not going to be in the Super Bowl. He lost in the conference championship game to Njigba, actually. But then Myles Garrett, who absolutely went nuts this year. He's the best defensive player in the league, has been for a couple years. And Myles Garrett set a single season sack record with 23. Donovan Lewis is joining me from the ticket. All right, I just covered all the stuff around the game. You got the MVP and the North Texas players and how it's all kind of cool and stuff for their family and friends. But let's talk nuts and bolts here. Who do you think is going to win between the Seahawks and the Patriots?
I do think Seattle is the better team, and they probably have all the pressure on them to say, hey, they can go get it done. But I always believe in the, hey, man, we have nothing to lose kind of effect that New England kind of has because no one's kind of expecting them to win. The quarterback is going to have to play way better than he has in the playoffs to begin with because he's been really bad, but they've been winning because of their defense.
Are you talking about Drake May?
Yeah.
Okay. That's a little harsh.
Really bad in the playoffs, but they've been winning in spite of his play because their defense has been really good, and they've had taking away C.J. Stroud in the Houston game and the weather and all that happened with the backup quarterback in the Denver game. So if he plays better, man, New England has a shot to stay in it. But if you're asking me who am I putting my money on, I'm definitely putting it on Seattle.
Does the nation still have Patriots fatigue because they went to 28 Super Bowls or whatever under Brady?
I think so. Even if it's a different regime, no Belichick, no Brady, I think still people just kind of roll their eyes and go, New England again? Who cares?
And like none of the same players are on that team, though.
Say that again?
I don't think any of the same players are on the last Super Bowl team that are on this one.
No, they tore it down. They were bad for 2 years. The past 2 years, they only won 4 games in each season, and all of a sudden they turn it around. Their schedule wasn't the toughest, but you got to give it to them for getting through the playoffs with 3 really good defenses they faced, and they got to the Super Bowl. So there's something to be said about that. But I think it's going to be a fun, entertaining, close game.
Where are you watching the Super Bowl?
I will watch it at my cousin's house. She has a little Super Bowl gathering every year. Not too big, so I can watch the game so we can talk about it and enjoy all the pomp and circumstances around it.
Does the ticket not have an official station event that's happening for the Super Bowl?
No, we had that before out at the Bomb Factory, but haven't had that in a few years. So nothing official with us, man. We just watch it where we can.
How was the trip out there? Super Bowl Radio Row is so fun. I don't know if people realize how fun that is.
It really, truly is, man. You just see a ton of NFL athletes and celebrities walking around. I think Wednesday and Thursday are the days that are the most popping, where someone famous is passing you every 15 seconds as you're doing your show, so you get a chance to speak to them as they walk by. But no, it's always fun, man. This is Super Bowl 19 for me, and it always delivers. It's always a good time.
All right, Donovan Lewis from the ticket. I realize you're like in transit coming back, so thanks for.
Man, have a happy Super Bowl.
I will. Hey, next year if y'all have an extra seat, maybe I like football too. I don't know.
I got you. Come on, let's make it happen.
Thank you very much. Yeah, see, I can guilt people into a free trip. Coming up next on the James Show, Dallas Fort Worth's hottest new radio segment, Garrett's World. I'm James Parker. It's News Talk 820, 93.3 FM WBAP. All right, it's time for Garrett's World, kiddos. And if you want an easy laugh, go to the WBAP Facebook page and look at Gangster Garrett. Have you seen this, Kim? Did you see this? So Garrett, to promote Garrett's World, he took a picture of himself, just a selfie in front of the WBAP sign in the hallway. And he just looks like such a nice little wholesome young man, just like someone like, sure, you could date my daughter. I trust you. And in fact, that's his whole bit. He's so wholesome, it's suspicious. So in order to sort of make humor out of going very far in the opposite direction, I took the picture of Garrett. First, I put him in cornrows. And that's already funny. We already shared that out. We got a good laugh at it. He looks ridiculous with cornrows. He looks like Colin Kaepernick. Colin Kaepernick looks ridiculous with cornrows because I don't care what your ancestry is. You're going to look ridiculous in cornrows if your name is Colin Kaepernick. That's like the second whitest name on earth. So no, you're not especially striking us with Black Panther fear, Colin. If you were wondering, the whitest name on planet Earth, if Colin Kaepernick's second, the number one would be Graham Wellington. Graham Wellington is the whitest name on earth. I have a racially ambiguous name, James Parker. I could just as easily be a brother as a white guy. I would be perfect if I was biracial. But no, so in Garrett's World, we actually did one better than that. I was like, well, why just stop with the AI fun there? So then I made another AI that takes cornrow Garrett, gives him an Uzi, and then he's shooting it up in the air and screaming with celebratory gunfire while there's a cute little WBAP sign right next to him, and he's got on like the adorable church polo. I don't know why. It just cracks me up. It's so funny. But if you want an easy laugh, go look at that. With that, that is the terrible setup to this week's edition of Garrett's World.
So, as you can probably tell from all these stories I've told you over the past few months, and my interactions with James, I'm a very outgoing and outspoken person, and it's a personality trait I've had ever since I was really little, i.e., the story I will be telling you today. When I was about 5, my mom took me to see a stage production of the musical Annie. Honestly, not one of my personal favorite plays or movies. Still though, it was a good way for my mom and I and a group of our friends to bond and have some fun together. As the play went on, I began to take note of Miss Hannigan, the cruel, alcoholic head of the New York City orphanage who despises children, especially Annie. I've never been a big fan of someone thinking they have to shout and belittle people to get their point across or get people to do what they want them to do. She was loud, rude, and abusive. In one scene, she was lashing out at Annie, screaming in her face for her to do her chores and clean up the rooms. After her ranting, and just as it got really quiet, a little voice in the audience cried out, "No, you do it yourself!" You can probably guess who that was. Yep, it was me. The unexpected outburst caused not just the audience to laugh, but even the actors themselves to break character and start laughing. I guess I've always been a bit of a showstopper. When I look back on it, it was, in a weird way, a bit of a prelude of what was to, and has now come, where I break into an ongoing show and share my wholesome thoughts on things going on in my world and around me.
How old are you in that story? You don't have any adult stories? I mean, this is so wholesome, Garrett. Damn. Do we have to go through the 5-year-old stories? Can't we just fast forward to the part where, like, your roommate relapsed on meth and he spent all the electric bill money on drugs and you come home one day and your apartment's dark? What happened to me? So, I don't know, Garrett. Your stories are so wholesome. You're going to kill us all, aren't you? Okay, just checking. Just don't think about that. Don't be one of those guys that just snaps one day, and because it's always the nice guy. It's never me. It's never the guy that talks smack. That reminds me, because I remember It wasn't that long ago. There was a show where I was talking about the exemption list. You know how married people have an exemption list. And I was saying like, yeah, I've got like Scarlett Johansson and Christina Hendricks, and I don't even remember who I said at the time. Bella Thorne, Bryce Dallas Howard, something like that. And some lady called in. She's like, "What if Miss Parker hears you talking about other women like that?" I'm like, Miss Parker is not under the impression that I don't find Christina Hendricks attractive. Like Miss Parker is well aware that when Scarlett Johansson's on the screen, pretty much everybody looking at that TV thinks she's attractive. Who are these people? You don't have to worry about me. It's the guys that like, oh, I would never have dinner with another woman, or I would never have like a private car ride with another woman, or, you know, I'm the best preacher at Gateway Baptist Church, or I don't know what they say. But those are the guys you have to watch out for. It's not the big mouths. All right, coming up next on the James Show, Trump RX launched this morning. I'm not too optimistic about it. I'm like, it's just like room temperature water. I don't think it's going to hurt anything. I don't think it's going to help anything. But I am going to tell you what I wish we would do to fix healthcare prices. Coming up next on the James Show. News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. Hey, sports fans, we got the big game this weekend. I think I'm going to make a bet with Garrett, and if he loses, he has to do his hair in cornrows, like in the AI picture. But for the rest of us, you can add a little bit of spice to the game yourself with Prize Picks. I've got my lineup set for the game. Here's what I did. I'm going to take the max discount square where Drake May only has to do one passing yard, and you win that square. The other one I'm doing, I picked Sam Darnold, 1.5 passing TDs, and you pick more or less. If you pick less, he passes for 0 or 1, boom, you win that one. If he passes for 2 or more, boom, you win that one. So I picked more. So we're going to find out if I get a little bit extra money with the game that I was already going to watch anyway with Prize Picks. So you can do that too. That's how easy it is. You make a lineup of 2 to 6 people. I mean, if you want to keep adding players, it gets harder and harder, but you can win up to 5,000 times your money. So you want to try that? Download Prize Picks, use promo code WBAP, get $50 in lineups with your first $5 lineup. Download Prize Picks. Use promo code WBAP. Get $50 in lineups with your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, even for the big game. It's good to be right. Hey there. Welcome to the James Show. News Talk 820 93.3 FM WBAP. I am your host, James Parker. And something that's, kind of big news, kind of something we're not even going to think about very long. Trump RX came out today, or I guess technically came out yesterday. And I'm not like crapping on it. I just don't think it's going to do much. I don't think it's going to help a whole lot. I don't think it's going to hurt a whole lot either. This is not the solutions I'm looking for. This is not the solutions any free market capitalist should be looking for. Anybody on Team Red, anyone who's a fan of the Founding Fathers and the Constitution, this is not what we're looking for. WFAA.
President Trump launches an online website that he says will help lower the cost of prescription drugs. It lists 40 medications at lower prices for people paying out of pocket, not through insurance. Patients with a valid prescription can download coupons from major drug makers. The list includes weight loss drugs, an asthma inhaler, and seizure medications. Medical experts say the savings are unclear and may only help some patients.
Well, the medical savings are unclear, but the fact that it will only help some patients, that's pretty much every program ever. You could have said that about Obamacare. The savings are unclear and it'll only help some patients. So come on. There's some legit criticism here besides you just throwing out the orange man bad. Because the number one direction I think we should begin when addressing this is not a healthcare issue in the fact that it affects Tylenol or medicine or cancer or any of that. This is an economic issue. This is all about who's going to pay for the healthcare services. Healthcare is doing fine. Our cancer survival rates are fantastic. We can do now quintuple bypass surgery and the survival rate is fantastic and getting better every day. So many things that used to be fatal are now just chronic conditions. We've cured AIDS. So healthcare is fine. The only debate that's being had is paying for it. Now, no one is getting free health care ever. You're always just transferring the cost to somebody else. But the fact that we're having this discussion now and everyone agrees that we have to do something about healthcare. Healthcare costs are too high. We need to make healthcare more affordable. Everybody agree with that? Everybody agree that it has gotten worse in our lifetimes? The ability for the average man to go out there and get a median wage and then come out and pay for his own healthcare? Hasn't that gotten more difficult? Well, shouldn't we first repeal all of the previous attempts to help, air quotes, help pay for healthcare that have, no matter what the intentions of the programs were, have led to worse costs, worse affordability? So you got to think, well, what do you mean, Parker? Well, in economic speak, whenever you subsidize something, you either get more of it or the price goes up. Well, you can't get more healthcare. It's not like we can go invent sick people. It's not like you can, people are going to start wrecking their cars or having heart attacks on purpose. So if you have pretty much a static demand and you throw money at it, the price is going to go up. Same thing with college. There's a finite number of kids that are smart enough to go to college every year. And if you just throw money at this finite demand, then what are you going to get? Ragingly higher cost. That's what happens. It happens when we subsidize corn. It happens when we subsidize sugar. It happens when we subsidize college. It happens when we subsidize healthcare. So the first thing I would say is, if you think that healthcare costs are a problem now, you are implying, if not flat out admitting, that the previous interventions into healthcare industries have made it worse. So what do? You just start walking backwards through the calendar of time and undoing our mistakes that got us here. Number one, easy. No free healthcare for illegals. People will come out there and say it's literally illegal for illegals to get comprehensive Medicare or Medicaid. Okay, if you take the word comprehensive out of that, is it still a true statement? No. If they go to the emergency room, they get treated and then they can skedaddle out of there and the taxpayers get stuck with the bill through Medicaid. Stop that. I'm not saying stop giving healthcare to illegals. I'm just saying give them the bill instead of the taxpayers. When you go to the hospital, don't you get the bill? Aren't you required to cover it either out of pocket or through your insurance, or maybe a private charitable donation, or maybe your mom pays the bill? Something to that effect. So that's number one. Number two, this seems to be a no-brainer as well. I can't believe this isn't number one on the agenda right now. I can't believe they haven't voted on this already. Repeal Obamacare. Not extend the subsidies, or not cancel the subsidies, or not trim them back. Don't don't kind of adjust around the edges, don't rearrange the chairs on the deck, repeal Obamacare. And once you admit that this is an economic problem and the subsidies are what are contributing to the higher prices were more affordable before the subsidies, right? We have to start getting rid of the subsidies. And a lot of you aren't going to like that. So just go backwards through the calendar of time. Get rid of Obamacare. What was the last big healthcare intervention before that? George W. Bush started Medicare Part D. That has been a huge, embarrassing failure, as evidenced by the fact that drugs are still wildly unaffordable for many Americans. And this was a program that was supposed to fix it. Didn't fix it, repeal it. Then you go back, you repeal Medicare, you repeal Medicaid, you get the government out of there. And then you can start talking about the next program that you want to try. But until you do that, I'm not on board with any of it. Now, some of you might have guessed, well, no, Parker, you're just going to want it all repealed. And then by the time it's time to start making new programs, you're going to oppose that too. Yeah, I probably will, actually. I probably will. Listen, nationalize healthcare. There was another guy that wanted to do that, and he did it. Germany got the socialized medicine dream come true. They got universal healthcare in 1941. Who was in charge back then? I don't know. Let's ask a lady who witnessed it herself.
Next thing, what happened, he nationalized our healthcare system. We had a reasonable good healthcare system, which was financed by private insurance. We had good hospitals, we had good doctors, and everybody was reasonable well being cared for. This all changed very fast.
Yeah, so everyone's worrying about Orange Man bad. He's literally Hitler. Meanwhile, you're pushing for all their economic policies. All of the fascist playbook. As far as, look, I'm not saying they're as bad as the fascists when it comes to race. Absolutely not. When it comes to anti-Semitism, absolutely not. When there's no Holocaust, there's no concentration camps. But you do have the media on your side, just like the fascists did. You do support, this equal rights crusade and universal basic income like the fascists did. All the social programs, the welfare, the food stamps, government daycare. They had free daycare. You understand that? They set it up. They strip religion out of education. They told you don't listen to your parents. They nationalized the auto industry and the banks. They nationalized healthcare. They forced abortions. They had euthanasia. They loved gun control. You sure Trump's Hitler? 800-288-9227. 800-288-9227. Tell me how you would fix healthcare. What would you like to see to address healthcare? Because Trump RX isn't going to get it done. 800-288-9227. I'm James Parker on News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. Well, hey there, fellow Texans. Welcome back to the James Show. News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. I am your host, James Parker. Hey, I know. Good to see you, too. All right, I was going to move on to something else here, but I keep getting messages about the video that Trump shared yesterday that is now dominating some headlines and some platforms. I have a TV on today. It's on CNN and Fox News. Now, Fox News talked about it a little bit, the video. Now they're talking about sanctuary campuses. They were talking about the Dow hitting 50,000. They were talking about the new Trump RX. They were talking about the possibility of war with Iran. They were talking about the other good economic numbers. They're talking about a whole host of things. CNN is spending more than half of their time. Like right now, Jake Tapper is on CNN saying, here's what the caption says. Trump shares racist video, removes it amid black backlash. Now they're talking to some Democrat representative from Maryland, Glenn Ivey. It says, and the subcaption, bipartisan outrage. I'm not outraged. Not outraged at all. In fact, this is something that we were kind of prepared for because we've been doing so many segments here lately where people have been saying just overtly anti-white racist things. Michelle Obama is saying she purposefully tries to avoid white-owned businesses if at all possible. No one got upset about that. Another piece of audio I had yesterday, and I think I played it. Yeah, I did. I played this yesterday. There was an ICE protester yesterday. I played it this morning too, didn't I? That was calling an ICE agent the N-word to his face. You can kind of hear it here. He calls him a house N-word twice. House N-word, house N-word. And you hear the ICE agent at the end go, what the F is wrong with you people? There's a lady. Actually, there's two guys and someone that might be a guy. It kind of looks like a lady, though. I mean, they're all real skinny and frail, and none of them look like a threat. They all have spaghetti noodle arms, and they're just vile, mean people. And they're like, is this what you do? You enjoy ripping families apart? Is that where you're going? You're going to tear family apart? And he just asked, are you a man? Legit question in 2026.
So how does it feel abducting people taking from the family? Not good. Make you feel good about yourself. We're like, yeah, families should be ripped apart. That kind of energy. Like we should rip people apart from their families. Are you a man?
Wow.
Wow, is that a question?
Wow.
House Sir, I need to move house KKK. What's wrong with you people?
House in KKK. And then he comes back, what the F is wrong with you people? Was there any outrage about racism then? Racism needed to be called out? Because if you're really outraged every time you see racism and you want racism to stop, would you say something about that, Jake Tapper? You spend 1 second on that? Because I'll play both. I've already addressed both. Will you? Or will you only talk about it when it's one side? And I'm not especially incensed by this. I don't really think those ICE protesters are racist. I think they're just trying to use their words to hurt the guy that they think is evil. And they're thinking the most hurtful, painful word, the most offensive word that they could possibly think of, and it is, in this situation, the N-word. So I'll give them the benefit of the doubt. I'll give Donald Trump the benefit of the doubt. I mean, how many people left on planet Earth today are actually racist? How many people actually think that there's immutable traits that you can determine based on the color of people's skin that renders them better or worse than all other groups of people? Very, very few people actually believe that. And very, very few of the people who are now saying these things about Donald Trump really believe that about Donald Trump. This is just a good chance to get people who are barely paying attention and don't know what's going on, just another excuse to hate him. The video itself was about voter fraud. Jake Tapper, y'all cover that part? I mean, I've seen, since I've been sitting here all day, about 4 hours worth of coverage cumulative on this. Did y'all ever even talk about what the original videos? Did you even play the rest of the video? Because what does that mean? You only care about the 1 second that can be used to make people hate Trump, but you don't talk about the rest of the video. Is that honest? 800-288-9227. 800-288-9227. Meanwhile, you got Chuck Schumer out there calling voter ID Jim Crow 2. Really? Jim Crow 2? That's what voter ID is?
Now is for the SAVE Act itself. It has nothing to do with protecting our elections and everything to do with federalizing voter suppression. The SAVE Act is nothing more than Jim Crow 2.0. If the SAVE Act were to become law, Online registration, registration by mail, and registration drives would become a thing of the past.
No, I don't think voter ID is Jim Crow 2.0. Because if it was, Democrats would support it. 800-288-9227. I'm James Parker on News Talk 820, 93.3 FM WBAP. Well, happy Friday, fellow Texans. Welcome back to the James Show, News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. I am your host, James Parker. A lot of important stuff going on in the news today. Trump RX launch. We're about to strike Iran. I'm not saying you can guarantee it, but it's looking like we're about to do another military action against Iran. The Dow Jones passed $5,000 in its close for the first time in history. All kinds of important stuff going on that affects you, but a lot of us are stuck talking about racially insensitive video. I mean, the CNN is just fixated on it. Well, they finally got off it for a second. Now they're talking about the Nancy Guthrie situation. So if you watch CNN, you would only know about Nancy Guthrie and this Trump video that's got some people saying, see, I told you he was racist. This is Tate in Burleson. You're on WBAP.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out why are you making excuses or presenting whataboutism instead of talking about the actual topic that the president of the United States of America posted a racist video on his Truth Social and then deleted it because of the political pressures.
All right. Well, look, I remember hours and hours ago when this was like first blowing up online. One of the complaints was Trump posted this video and you know he means it because he hasn't even deleted it. Well, it's then he deleted it, saying, see, he deleted it. So you know he knew it's bad. He can't win. He's not going to win. He's going to be called racist. And one of the reasons why it's so easy for people to dismiss this is y'all have called everything he's done racist. And we've all been accused of racism so damn many times it means nothing. I was called racist for opposing Obamacare. I was called racist for opposing pretty much anything that guy did. But we've been called racist so much it means nothing. You've already ruined the word.
You playing really well right about now. So I guess you're going to get your discrimination check from the EEOC, or you're going to be like J.D. Vance. You ain't got to apologize anymore. So stop being the victim. Own it. He posted a racist post. He took it down. He is wrong. It's not hard to say that.
I did. That's you shouldn't post that. That's an offensive video. There's racist tropes.
They'll be fired. Point blank, period.
No, they wouldn't. What? Tate. If you posted it, would you get fired?
Oh yeah.
No, you wouldn't. No, if Obama posted it, would you say the same thing? Of course you wouldn't.
Anything. If you post a racist anything in my field of work, you get fired. Yes.
Tate, give me an example. Give me an example of a black person or a story in the news that we would all know of that got fired for being racist against white people. I'll wait.
Oh, there we go with the victimhood again.
No, it's not a victimhood. You said if anybody posts something racist, they all get fired. Who?
Okay, allow me to answer. There were several people who were fired because of what they posted about Charlie Kirk.
But it wasn't because it was racist. Here's the deal. Name one. Name a person that lost their job for saying something racist against white people.
Again, many people got fired because of what they posted about
Name
Charlie
one.
Kirk.
That's not racist.
Oh, there were kids who were kicked out of school.
Name one.
The kid down there in Texas State.
Here, look. You're falling flat on your face in front of everybody here. Look, here's what I'm looking for, because I can give you an example. Remember when Rush Limbaugh was a commenter for the NFL and he questioned the media's the allegiance to Donovan McNabb because they wanted a black quarterback to succeed? He got fired for that. I'm giving you a specific example of a public person who has lost their job for saying something perceived as racist against black people. Now, I'm asking you for one example of a person of color, any race, who got fired for saying something racist about white people.
Oh, now you changed the topic.
No. It's the same question I asked before. It's the same question I asked before. Give me a name. And if you can't, you need to ask yourself, why can't you give me a name? Got it?
I'm trying to figure out what is the connection to Donald Trump posting something racist. You guys call Obama racist.
Do I have? Look, I can go back and I can recall the conversation that we just had a minute ago. You would say anybody who posts something racist gets fired, and I was making the counter argument. No, what you're saying there is not a true statement because you can't give me one counter example.
I said in my field of work, and I also said it when Charlie Kirk was assassinated. I won't say hundreds, but probably thousands of people were fired. Some of them jokes were made online, and you guys were so sensitive.
Was it for anti-white racism, or was it for?
That's what y'all playing. That's what you playing on the radio. I called in, and you cut me off because I was making points that you didn't agree with, and you bloviated for the next 5 minutes.
So you can't give me the name of someone who got fired for anti-white racism. You can say the Charlie Kirk thing, but they weren't getting fired for saying anti-white racist things. They were saying ghoulish things about a person who got assassinated in front of our face, which isn't the same thing. They were celebrating the murder of a human being, and it wasn't for the color of his skin, and it wasn't out of racial animus. So no, you still don't have an example of someone who got fired for saying anything against white people that's racist. Correct?
Oh, wow.
I think I proved my point. Let's go to... Oh, you got it? All right, we're going to do a Name That Artist next. Now, if you know these 10 songs and you want some tickets, you need to call in. But we'll play the montage first. Don't call in yet. We're going to play the montage first, and then you can call in. Ready, go. All right, so there's the montage. Today we're playing for 4 tickets to the Shriners Children's College Baseball Showdown. It's going to be at Globe Life Field, the big Rangers Field, February 13th through 15th, featuring Arkansas, Oklahoma, Oklahoma State, TCU, Texas Tech, and Vanderbilt. So you can get tickets at globelifefield.com, or if you want to try and win a 4-pack of tickets from us to the College Baseball Showdown, 800-288-9227. Go ahead and call in. Get on hold. When we get back from the break, I'll play the montage again. You're going to write down all 10 artists, and then I'm going to give you some of these tickets. I'm James Parker. Name That Artist next on News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. Hey, if you're a college baseball fan, you're going to love today's edition of Name That Artist. I'm James Parker, News Talk 820 93.3 FM WBAP. I know, happy Friday. Good to see you too. You might want to go ahead and call in because the tickets today, we don't give away a whole lot of baseball tickets, but we're playing for 4 tickets to the Shriners College Baseball Showdown next weekend. There's going to be a bunch of teams here. Arkansas, Oklahoma, Oklahoma State, TCU, Texas Tech, Vanderbilt. You can get tickets at globelifefield.com or call in right now, 800-288-9227. For you people on hold, I'm going to play the montage again. Go ahead and write it down so when I go to you, you can just list them all out. And if you're skeptical about calling in, you don't have to know all of them. You just have to know more than the guy before you. So with that, let's hear the montage. All right, there's your montage. Let's see if we can get ourselves a winner here. We're going to start with Tim and Aubrey. You ready for Name That Artist, sir?
Yes, I am.
All right, let's hear it. Go.
Okay. Peter Gabriel, Joe Jackson, the Bengals,
Yes, sir.
Donna Summer,
Yep.
Pet Shop Boys, Scandal, Midnight Oil, Alice Cooper, Prince.
Well, you kind of got him backwards. What was the one?
Sorry, Toto, and then Prince.
There you go. All right, a clean sweep. A perfect score. Tim and Aubrey, are you a big baseball fan?
No, but I work with some people who are.
Oh, they're going to love you. Because I have some friends that went to like Oklahoma. I have another friend that went to Tech. Anything that college does that happens to come to town, they want to be a part of it. So, yeah, if you have friends like that, they're going to love you. Thank you very much for playing today, Tim. Good job.
All right, thank you.
All right, give it up for Tim. Knocking it out of the park on a rarely successful Name That Artist. All right, still coming up on the James Show. Oh, I got time. I can do something else right now. I said about 4 or 5 times during the show that I think we're going to go to war with Iran. This is why. He keeps saying things like this. This is Donald Trump just yesterday.
Should the supreme leader in Iran be worried right now?
I would say he should be very worried. Yeah, he should be. As you know, they're negotiating with us.
I know they are, but the protesters have said, where are the Americans? You promised them we would have their back. Do we still have their back?
Well, we've had their back. And look, that country's a mess right now because of us. We went in, we wiped out their nuclear.
So that's the question. If we wipe them out,
we have peace in the Middle East.
Yeah.
If I didn't take out their nuclear, think of it. If we didn't take out that nuclear, we wouldn't have peace in the Middle East because the Arab countries could have never done that. They were very, very afraid of Iran.
Yeah.
They're not afraid of Iran anymore. We wiped out those beautiful B-2 bombers. One's right over there. Those beautiful little models. Those beautiful B-2 bombers went in and they hit their target, every single bomb, and obliterated it. And because of that, they were going to have a nuclear weapon within 1 month.
Yeah.
Within 1 month, they were going to have a nuclear weapon.
Yeah.
That was a big threat that they're not going to have it anymore.
But if we obliterate it, what's the deal about? I mean, if there's no more, are they trying to restart the nuclear program?
Well, I heard that they are, and if they do, and I let them know, if they do, we're going to send them right back and do their job again.
So your understanding is they tried to restart it, and that's why you're threatening force?
They tried to go back to the site. They weren't even able to get near it. There was total obliteration. But They were thinking about starting a new site in a different part of the country. We found out about it. I said, you do that, we're going to do very bad things to you.
All right, coming up next on the James Show, I've got some interesting reactions to the storyline of the racially insensitive video ending that Trump had posted yesterday. And I'll share that with you next. If you have any comments on any of the things we've talked about this entire week, we've only got one segment left before the weekend kicks off. You better call in now, 800-288-9227. I'm James Parker on News Talk 820, 93.3 FM WBAP. What's up, fellow Texans? Your weekend starts in 13 minutes. I hope you goof off for the last of your work week here. You know what? Just go ahead and kick up your feet now. Weekend starts now. You'll just stay on the clock for 13 more minutes and get paid. How about that? But one of the top stories of the day, even though it doesn't affect really anybody one bit, it's been the top story on CNN since I sat down, is this video that Trump shared. And the whole video was about voter integrity, you know, questioning the voting machines that were used in Michigan. And I just wish like that would be part of the conversation. Yeah, we can talk about the last 1 second of the video, but the first 59 seconds of the video, far more important, far more consequential, far more historic even, if that stuff turns out to be true. And so before I answer some of the response to it, I would like to play you the rest of the video because I don't think anybody else is going to be playing you the rest of that video that Trump shared today. So here's the rest of it. And you'll hear at the very end, the beginning of The Lion Sleeps Tonight. That is for like the 3 frames of video of the Obamas with 8 bodies. But here's the rest of the video.
Initiated by a court order, the Michigan investigation team obtained forensic access to a DS-200 tabulator, the machine that counts the votes. A Telit 4G wireless chip manufactured in Taiwan was discovered embedded into the motherboard. The voting machine tapes clearly indicate modem engagement and transmission of election data. Some of the anomalies that we noticed in the 2020 general elections, that 5 key states all stopped counting at a certain time in these key battleground states. These were all where the software, Dominion machines, ES&S machines were used, the Smartmatic, the GEMS software. So when the vote stopped counting, and this has been noted in other countries as well, President Trump was significantly ahead. When reporting and counting resumed, there was a massive spike occurred that favored Joe Biden.
And that was it. Just that little wee is. So the video isn't a racist video. The video has some racist frames in it that certainly, if you put it out of context, look racist. But now that I played you the rest of that, clearly this was a video about voter suppression. Are they answering that? Are they even wanting to have that conversation? Fine, we could talk about the last 3 frames of the video, but I would also like to have another conversation about the first 59 seconds. Because is there anybody out there who can rationally say that it's not suspicious that 5 of the 6 states that flipped in the 2020 election were the 5 included the 5 states that couldn't give us an answer on election night? What are the odds? Just flipping a coin that it would be swing states that never before in history had to stop counting and couldn't give us an answer. And they didn't in 2024 when we didn't have the weird circumstances around it. And when we didn't do it, all 5 of those states flipped back. It's the weirdest thing. It's a hell of a coincidence if it's true, but if it's just a coincidence, it's a less than 1 in 2 million chance that that's just a coin flip. So can we have that conversation? I can't prove it, but I don't need to prove it. The math is already there. And the best example, if you went to a roulette table and every time, if they spun the wheel 5 times and it landed on the same number 5 times, you couldn't prove that they cheated, but you know that they did because mathematically that's almost impossible. So with that, let's get some of your feedback here. Let me do the longest one first because Jonathan said, are you going to bring up the video Trump posted today? Now he goes on to explain, in the full version of that Lion King meme video, which was originally circulated by conservative creators back in October 2025 before being reposted by the president, several other high-profile Democrats were depicted as various animals from the movie, while the clip shared today was a shorter 1-minute version focusing on election claims. The source video includes Joe Biden depicted as a primate. He looked like a baboon, eating a banana. Hillary Clinton was a warthog. She was Pumbaa. Zoran Mamdani was depicted as a hyena. Chuck Schumer was a zebra. And he said other Democratic leaders generally portrays various party leaders as animals of the jungle who ultimately bow to President Trump, who is depicted as the Lion King. Right, so when you put it in context, it's really hard to even see those frames of Michelle and Obama on the heads of apes as overtly racist. I mean, it might be implicit racist, but you can put implicit racism just about anywhere you can imagine it. Daniel and Burleson, James, what is wrong with our nation? Virtually half of our citizens are listening to and believing when Chuck Schumer gets in front of a news camera or microphone and calls the Republican-backed voter ID law Jim Crow 2.0? Why aren't citizens voters screaming, Schumer, you idiot, your Democrat party is the party that gave us Jim Crow in the first place? I don't know. I think they believe in the whole switch theory. Oh, no. We weren't the bad guys. There was a switch. Yeah, that's the ticket. Anyway,
now is for the SAVE Act itself. It has nothing to do with protecting our elections and everything to do with federalizing voter suppression. The SAVE Act is nothing more than Jim Crow 2.0. If the SAVE Act were to become law, online registration by mail, and registration drives would become a thing of the past.
But for both of you guys, Daniel, Jonathan, the reason why they still do this race baiting is because it still works. If you were listening a couple segments ago, did you hear when Tate called earlier? And he couldn't name one single person that ever got fired for saying anything racist against white people. I think you understand why that was important without me having to spell it out. But if you're only calling out racism when it goes one way, you're not really concerned about racism. You just want to take white people down a peg. I don't even know if you're racist against white people. If you are, that's how you would behave. But you might just want to take them down a peg because what? They're your political opposition. I don't even believe the people that do all this anti-white stuff actually hate white people, other than the fact that so many of us vote against them. And if you're trying to institute socialism on planet Earth, no one has been your biggest enemy other than white men from Western civilization. And it's not even white people. The Russians are the biggest proponent of it. They were the first Marxist country. So it's not even an anti-white issue. It's a Western civilization issue. But if you spray your shotgun in modern America at my demographic, you're going to disproportionately destroy Republicans and Team Red members. So that's why they still do it, because it still works. But if there was no outrage by Tate or by Jake Tapper or by CNN when the ICE protesters sitting there in the face of an ICE officer calling him the N-word.
So how does it feel? I've got some people taking from my family. Not good. Good about yourself. Yeah, families should be ripped apart. That kind of energy. Like we should rip people apart from their families. Are you a man?
Wow.
Wow, is that a question?
Wow.
House. Sir, I need to move. House. KKK.
Called him the house in a couple times, right in his face. That's actual malicious. And I don't even think that guy's racist. He was just using his words to try and hurt that guy. That's all. He thinks he's fighting literally Hitler. So it's an ugly situation we're in. But if you don't call them both out, then you don't really care about racism. If you only care about racism when it goes one way, then you're just exploiting the racist suffering of our black neighbors at the hands of Democrats to further a political narrative in 2026. And that's pretty ugly stuff, too. All right. One more message that I want to leave you with on a positive note. Stefan, I was asking where are you watching the Super Bowl. I got a few responses. I'm going to read you Stefan's. He says, I'm going to be sitting at the AT&T Stadium in a lawn chair with a brown paper bag over my head watching the Super Bowl. Taking it a little serious there, aren't you, Stefan? All right, thank you very much for hanging out. Go have fun this weekend. Go watch the Super Bowl or not. We'll talk about it coming up on Monday. Stick around. Coming up next, Mark Levin. I'm James Parker. It's been The James Show on News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP.